through every single day. Of course you want to be a champion. Of course you want to be working towards winning titles.
Be happy, but never satisfied.
Better than ever.
CUUC 2023. We are live from Brampton, Ontario for this Canadian Ultimate University Championship. My name is Etienne Fournier. I will have the great privilege of hosting this live webcast. Do not worry, I will not be alone. I will have the great pleasure of sharing the mic, and now it is confirmed, the most and best organized color commentator in the business, Chantal Dussault. Chantal, thanks for being here today.
It's my pleasure to be here with you, Etienne.
There is no bad enough weather for us, not standing up on a picnic table looking at what's looking to be a very promising and exciting ultimate frisbee game. We are in the open division here. Chantal, the two teams that will face off are the Manitoba men's team, and they will face off against McGill's from Montreal. Can you tell us what is at stake for this game, or what's the historical between the historic between those two teams?
Yes, absolutely. Hi, Etienne. Yes, it's a pleasure to be here. And with McGill, they are ranked for this tournament. They're ranked 4th. However, Manitoba is ranked 1st. Interestingly, in the past, last year at CUUC 2022, McGill actually beat Manitoba in the pool play. So anything is possible during this game. And what's at stake here today is just the re-ranking of the pool play, because tomorrow will be the finals. Tomorrow, everyone gets a chance to be the #1 university in Canada at Ultimate Frisbee. And today is the re-ranking for the top 8 spots in Division 1.
So as of yesterday, there were 2 spots remaining in the open division. They were taken by Université de Montréal and Université de Sherbrooke. So all 8 teams in the Division 1 today are playing for a re-ranking for tomorrow, quarters, semis, and grand final in the open division. But just before, Chantal, go ahead.
I was going to say, yes, you're mentioning Division 1, but let's not forget that there are many teams playing here today. There are more than 60 teams total in Brampton right now on 24 fields going live. And so there's Division 1, Division 2, and Division 3. And we welcome and salute all teams.
Which makes CUUC the biggest ultimate event in the country year over year. But before going any further, Ultimate Canada acknowledge that the 2023 Canadian University Ultimate Championships are taking place in the traditional territory of the Anishinabek, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and Ojibwe Chippewa peoples, the land that is home to the Métis, and most recently the territory of the Mississaugas and the Credit First Nation, who are direct descendants of the Mississaugas of the Credit. We also acknowledge that Brampton resides within Treaty 19 from 1818. So thanks everybody for being with us, wherever you are in Manitoba, Montreal, on the West Coast, on the East Coast. It's a privilege to share this game, which is extremely promising, as Chantal mentioned. Anything is possible. You'll see on the left-hand side, wearing the dark jerseys, Manitoba squad. On the right-hand side from Montreal, the McGill squad. Have a good game, everybody.
Yep, McGill in white. And the weather today is 13 degrees Celsius with the winds at 20 kilometers per hour and gusts at least 30 kilometers an hour. So we will see that will have an impact on the game today.
McGill on the receiving end of the opening pull. Miscued on the second pass. First break opportunity, number 17, throwing it long, floating, and converted by Manitoba to kick off this game. Confirmed by the observers. First point, third pass, break point by the Manitoba squad, which takes a short 1-point lead to kick things off.
Yes, that was an interesting point with a long put out to number 28, Straub, who is actually a new player this year, but a solid receiver, so someone to watch in the end zone for the Manitoba team.
So as Chantal mentioned, 60 teams, yes, 60 teams are taking part in this event in three different division. So we are looking at Division 1 in the open division.
And one of the particularities of the university teams is that because the players have to be registered at university, there's a changeover in the players. And so, specifically for Manitoba this year, 2/3 of their team is new. So, 2/3 of the team playing with Manitoba had not played with this university team before. Although they do come from a very deep and very organized development program in Winnipeg, and they have played competitively. It's still the first time they're playing on this team, so a new chemistry that seems to be working out since they did the first point.
So Manitoba being seeded first, if I'm not mistaken, of this overall open division. I'd just like to salute the Winnipeg Ultimate community, which year over year find ways of providing top level athletes throughout this university series or throughout the senior series or junior series. They're just amazing the amount of talent that comes out of Manitoba year over year, both in the open and women's division. So congrats to all the Manitoba Ultimate community for such great work and commitment to the sport, while we're seeing a great layout from number 54, Gervais. Manitoba threatening once again, potentially looking for their second consecutive break point to kick off this game. They are in the red zone. McGill defending the best they can, going break side, reaching out to number 31, Daya, resetting it on his left hand side to number 68, Nemechek, going left to right. Now it's number 88, Howie's, that has a pass, and now the latest pass from number 28 is confirmed by the observer, Cole Strobe, providing the dark jerseys their second consecutive break point to kick off this game. 2-0 Manitoba.
Manitoba was running a classic stack, very well organized, very disciplined stack near the end zone, and they capitalized on that break throw. So they just did a swing and could easily do a break swing and then a throw into the end zone because there was space there, because they were so disciplined with their vertical stack. Great play.
I was expecting a timeout call from McGill, kicking off the game, getting broken twice in a row, but it seems like they will go with the flow. Maybe not the start that McGill wished for, but still.
Both teams have played 2 games already today, and we have Manitoba that has won 2 games so far. They won against McMaster and Montreal, whereas McGill has also played 2 games, but they've only won 1 of the 2 games today. So both teams warming up, and the one game that McGill did lose was by 1 point. So we have to say that it's very tight, very close games in this tournament, in this Division 1.
McGill on the receiving end of this poll. Great start for the Manitoba University with 2 break point to kick things off. McGill looking for a response. Feeding number 98 Green right in the middle of the field, resetting, attacking the open side to number 22 Datani. Resetting now, Podorovsky. On the break side, feeding 10 O'Donnell. On the sideline, O'Donnell looking for some help. Finds number 69, McEwen, still along the sideline. Now we have resets, a little more room to breathe on the open side. Still, Green offering himself as a target inside on the open side. Quick little dish, feeding Wu in the red zone. McGill threatening, hunting down their first point. There was some body contact, foul call. Even though the Manitoba player tried to go around The player was chasing, but there was some leg bumping. The observers were standing by. So the observers are the frisbee is being a self-officiated sport, but the observers are there to rule, to be active on the line calling, to make sure that the place stays inbound, but they are passive, so they will, upon request, they will rule out any call that are being challenged.
It also seemed from where we stand, although we don't have best perspective, it also seemed that there was some foot contact there. But they're
From
deciding
our
to throw it back.
perspective,
From our
absolutely.
perspective, and we do not
Absolutely.
have the best perspective.
Players always have the best perspective. McGill, in the meantime, centering the disc, going back and quickly feeding green, and it's confirmed by the observers. McGill writing on the scoreboard their first point of the game, trailing by 1. It's 2-1 Manitoba.
Yeah, some nice handling there by Datani and some quick handling in order to convert that catch into a backhand break side throw to green. We've been noticing that McGill can pivot quickly when they receive the throw, and they're able to make good decisions, which resulted in their first point of the game. So both teams are on the board now.
Chantal, I've been following the University Series for a few years, and I'm just simply amazed year over year on the skills and the athleticism of all these athletes. Like the University Series is so short, 7, 8 weeks long. You have 3 tournaments into it to qualify for national. You have to train, build some kind of team chemistry, even though some players are playing together during the summer season, but still just amazing the depth and the skills and the athleticism of all these women and men playing at the Canadian Championship.
I agree with you, Etienne. And I think that a lot of this has to do also with the coaching staff, which we can talk about a little bit for both teams. I mean, the coaches are so dedicated. From McGill, we have Richard Bartle Tubbs, who is actually English and who coached the Austrian U20 team. And he is helped by 3 other people on the McGill team.
Manitoba O-line for the first time on the field, doing a great job crossing the midfield line, looking for a reset, finding Murray wearing number 18, quick high release. Now it's number 67, McFadden. Look forward for McFadden. He will definitely have an impact on Winnipeg's journey. But it's number 88, Howes, who confirms Manitoba third point, first offense hold for the black jerseys. It's 3-1 in favor of Manitoba.
And we saw it was McFadden who made that pass, and it's probably not the last that we see of McFadden. Nick McFadden is a key player. He's one of the key captains on the Manitoba team. And not only is he a key captain, he's been playing for a really long time, Etienne. An interesting story about McFadden is that in 2000, I forget exactly which year, but it
was
Worlds was in
tournament.
Winnipeg. Yes.
In Winnipeg.
And Winnipeg had put in 4 teams, and McFadden played on one of those teams. He played on the 4th team, and he was 12 years old. And so he's played ever since, and he is helped also with his co-captain, Jack Murray, who was also 12 years old and also on that 4th team. So again, speaking of that deep Manitoba development program, it goes.
Imagine you're 12 years old and you're playing in a world tournament.
Which was hosted in
The
Winnipeg.
rules were different back then, which is okay. In the meantime, McGill on the receiving end, trailing by 2 early in this first half. 1-to-1 defense going long with a great backhand. Oh, just a little short from number 42, Pedersen, which nickname is Daddy. I don't have the exact bag where's that nickname coming from, but still, Daddy, just a few centimeters shy of catching this amazing long backhand from McGill. White jerseys setting a zone defense, try to counter Manitoba's offensive effort. They are stuck in the corner of the field. There's a call. quickly resolve. Going long once again. It's a hawk fest here in Brampton. Everybody's invited under the disc, but it's Winnipeg who lands in possession, wearing number 26 from Manitoba. Still moving onward. Daya quickly resetting to 68. Nemechek flicking it in the corner, finding number 17 Tremblay for Manitoba's fourth point, and it's another break point from the Manitoba squad. They're now leading 4-1.
Manitoba seemed to have a little bit of difficulty getting out of the corner with the cup zone that McGill was applying, but they managed to find the right throw, get out of that, and then just flow all the way through with their surgical throws, which have that accuracy, and then that great catch in the end zone.
Now McGill is calling a timeout. Try to regroup, get together, find solutions. So they're trailing by 3, and Manitoba has scored 3 break point.
It's a good time for a
For
timeout.
those who are less familiar with the sport, a break point is whenever you start on offense a point. The logic would say that you have to score. If you get scored on, that's where the team that started on defense is scoring a break point. Very similar to what tennis, when you are serving and you're losing your game, you're getting broken. So the exact same principle here in ultimate.
And maybe we'll use this McGill timeout to say that McGill has been in Division 1 for 6 years, Etienne. However, they have yet to win Division 1. And so they're looking to do that this year. And it's their 30th season as a club. They have been in existence for 30 years. And some of the players on the team today are the children of the founding members of the McGill Ultimate team of Mutt.
I know on the McGill's roster, I'm seeing a player which name is Zimmerl, Vlad Zimmerl, wearing number 16. So
Yes.
related to Mark Zimmerl, legendary player not only in Montreal but in Canada, in North America, and throughout the world. You don't know Mark Zimmerl ill? Well, maybe if I tell you about Shaggy. Everybody knows Shaggy in
Everyone
Montreal.
knows Shaggy.
Everybody knows Shaggy throughout the world.
I think he made the Hall of Fame for Ultimate Canada. Did he
Well,
not?
I think he built the Hall of Fame actually. So big kudo for Shaggy, still being very, very active. I saw him play in the senior division with a bunch of young kids that could have been his children, literally.
Really?
And he was still playing on the O line. So very, very
At the senior
impressive
level.
character, and
Nice.
wow, what an athlete. So, salut, Shaggy. In the meantime, Manitoba pulling it. Great pull, crossing the field. McGill on the receiving end. Their O-line moving onward. Crower with the disc, finding number 8, McKibben. McGill O-line looking for some momentum. Verlan with the disc, no mark. Got lots of time. Seems like there's a poach on the Manitoba side. Great up the line, but it's the inside cut. 2. Now putting it to Colbury. Stuck on the sideline. Great high release to get out of the sideline. Now in the red zone. McGill with Kolinsky going back and floated disc. And it's being caught by McGill. And is it confirmed? We'll wait for the observers. There was a call, I think, against McGill, but it was a floaty disc. Typical situation where there's some body bumping. When the disc is floating, everybody's invited to the fest. But sometimes there's a little shouldering and a little elbowing in there.
Players are
So
discussing.
the 2 players discussing, reenacting. That's something also is very entertaining to see the people's skills, how good they are at reenacting what just happened or what they think just happened.
Those
And
were
it seems
two
that it will
great.
be a contested foul, so the disc will go back to thrower, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken.
Looks like it. I was going to say those were 2 great catches, both by Kolinsky, 39, and the catcher Datany. They both showed great read of the disc and huge vertical on that reach. Good job to both guys, but it's going to go back to number 39.
Kolinski with the disc, resetting it to Wu. Wu forced back in. The disc just slipped out of the receiver, which is 2. And it's a turnover for Manitoba, quickly countering. Settling it. Some kind of a split stack by Manitoba. Going long once again. There will be another fight in the air. And Manitoba's winning it. 28. Straub with the disc. Looking for an answer. And it's 54. Gervais who will score for Manitoba's 5th point. And it's another break point. Manitoba in the driver's seat, leading 5-1 in this first half.
What was key on that point was clearly the receiver, number 28, Straub, who really read that disc. And again, Etienne, this is Straub's first Ultimate Frisbee tournament. So just an amazing read of the disc and an ability to make the right decision after that, because then, as we know, newer players will often be a little bit more stressed out when they catch the disc. But no, calm nerves, made the right decision, and Manitoba makes the score.
I just Wikipedia the definition of talent, and it says,
Yes.
well, you start a sport, and your first competition is a national championship. That's what Wikipedia is saying.
That's
So,
right.
wow,
There's
amazing.
this picture right next to it.
Manitoba in the driver's seat, wearing the dark jerseys, leading 5-1. McGill only figured out to score 1 point with an offense hold. They're still hunting down for their first break point, but in order to score a break point, they will need to secure their offense hold.
And as Manitoba pulls, I want to make a shout out that the team wanted to say a big hi to Dylan Kagan, because Dylan was part of the team but had to cancel all of his flight plans. He's on the Manitoba team because he had COVID right before coming. So big shout out to Dylan. The guys wished you were here.
O'Donnell with the disc. It's a 1-1 defense played by Manitoba, stuck on the sideline. Dateny with the disc, flicking it in the middle. Finding Wu. Wu looking for some option. McGill looking for some offense rhythm. Nice little dish for a reset. O'Donnell with the disc. McGill going, nice grab by McGill to save the day. 69 McEwen, and McGill secures their second point of the game, now trailing by 3. Still Manitoba leading 5-2.
A really athletic catch by McEwen, number 69, by the end zone. That was a right-handed, twisty catch behind him slightly, and then he made that beautiful throw into the end zone. And you can sense the intensity and the grit, right? But the McGill team, they want this. They know they're behind. But they are just increasing the intensity, and I think it's working for them.
And Chantal, you mentioned it, McGill program has been created 30 years ago, 3-0. Wow, that's just simply amazing. But they have never won a Canadian championship.
Not yet.
They're still hunting down.
They're still hunting their first win. Yes. And they're helped with, I mentioned their main coach. Their main coach was Richard, and he has 3 assistants actually. So there's Nicholas, Maude, and Thomas. And they all have impressive credentials. Everything from playing Iris for Maude, which was the Quebec team, to Thomas, who played Mephisto and coached Manic, and Nicholas, who is an alumni legend at McGill. Nicholas Swan has been with the McGill team since 2012. So
Manitoba O-line in action. For the second time, McGill's playing a zone defense, try to create some turnovers and convert to close the 3-point gap they are suffering from. Manitoba with McFadden giving some direction to his teammates. Now it's number 14, McCallum, with the disc, finding a hole, but intercepted by McGill, quickly moving upward. End zone, 5 yards away from their potentially first break point, resetting in the middle. Great fake by number 99 of Imus, creating some space. Now it's Green with the disc, looking for some option, going break side around is Mark, feeding number 86 Wonder. Green attacking up the line, but offers himself as a target on the reset side. But miscued. Great reading by the Manitoba defender, was just slightly poaching, anticipated that pass, and just push it down for the turnover. So great break opportunity for McGill, but they could not take advantage of it.
That and the wind is blowing towards us. It's so towards the camera, and that probably pushed the disc down a bit faster than the thrower intended it.
McFadden quarterbacking this Manitoba O-line, looking for answers to McGill's zone, which is pretty tight as of now. Manitoba now deep in their own end zone, looking for answers. Nice little scuba to get some breathing air, which they now have with that great backhand pass, reaching out to Murray. Still McGill zone. Tried to suffocate Manitoba's O-line. McFadden taking some nice pass and run action, which creates a lot of room. Now Manitoba midfield. Will McGill transition to one-to-one defense? They're still hanging on to their zone defense. Manitoba now having some rhythm in moving the disc around, struggling to earn some yardage, going backward. They've just lost 15 yards over the last few points, but McFadden finds the hole. Manitoba's O-line's in action, moving forward, crossing the midfield line. Still great disc movement, great patience by the Manitoba handlers. They're entering McGill's red zone transition from zone defense to one-to-one defense. But, will that be caught? Yes, it was caught. I'm not sure it was the intended receiver, but still, observers are confirming Manitoba 6th point of the game. Manitoba's O-line hanging on after being squeezed in their own end zone. It's 6-2 for the dark jerseys.
We have to give credit to the Manitoba team here, Etienne, because they were clearly adapting to that McGill zone. Initially, it looked they were struggling with the McGill zone, but they seemed to find those holes and to work with each other and keep that level of patience to keep possession of the disc and work it through all the way to the end without making a mistake. And in fact, they were mentioning to me, I talked to them before the game, and they said that in their first 2 matches today, they've only had 1 break so far.
That is very impressive.
It's very impressive. And so it tells us about the level of patience they have when they have the disc and the choices that they make with that disc.
So if you got broken only once so far, it just shows, well, first, your O-line is very, very efficient, but you will lose the disc. There will be turnovers. So you need to play defense. So to just show how deep is the talent of this whole line. Not only can they deliver the O point, but if you lose possession, you need to find ways of getting it back in order to secure your offense hold.
I'm wondering if McGill is going to apply another next time they're on defensive, but right now they're on offense.
McGill, O-line with Colbury. Just it was picked up by the wind. Great bid by McGill in order to save that disc, but Manitoba taking it. Nice flick, deep, and well read by number 21, which quickly dishes it to his teammate. So Sidikui.
There's a call of travel. The observer has called travel at the end zone line.
I think he might have caught it outside of the end zone, but he stopped his movement inside the end zone. So you have to check back outside of the end zone whenever that happens. So Manitoba still being very, very efficient in the red zone, and observers are confirming Manitoba's 7th point. So the black jerseys in control, leading by 5, 7-2. Still in this first half.
Manitoba's having a great first half, and we saw Straub there, the receiver, who managed to tiptoe and catch it right before exiting the field to secure that point inbounds. So Manitoba's just really working that disc, and they have a bit of an organic style. They use what's being given to them, and they don't try to force throws that they don't have. Just being very smart with the disc and playing very hard. Very intense level of play here on the field today. Both teams are very hyped and excited about this game.
It is a national championship, and if you're not less familiar with the game, the winning team will have to score 15 points, so first team to 15, or the team that has the highest scored after 80 minutes of play. We'll have a halftime either after 40 minutes or after one of these two teams reaches the 8-point mark.
That's right.
So all the games throughout the weekend will be 80 minutes long, while the finals will happen through 90 minutes, unless one of the two teams reaches the 15-point mark. But the finals are being played tomorrow. Right now, we're looking at McGill in white versus Manitoba in black. McGill struggling with an unforced error. Manitoba quickly with Patterson centering the disc to Nemechek. Great inside cut by Siddiqui wearing number 21. Quickly Manitoba fighting over second effort by number 20. I think it's Wang who jumped at first to catch the disc, but it was a little too high. But still, Folk kept his eyes on the disc to provide his team the 8 points. So Manitoba winning the first half 8-2 with 3 consecutive points.
Yes, there was just the one small execution mistake from McGill, and that's all that was required for Manitoba to take possession and to take half, because right now the score has reached 8, and so it's already halftime.
Manitoba 8, McGill 2, first half is done. We will take a short break ourselves and we'll be right back in a couple of minutes. Stay tuned. We are back for second half. McGill wearing the white jerseys, Manitoba wearing the dark jerseys. We are in the open division. Pool play. Manitoba currently ranked first of this National Championship University Series. McGill celebrating their 30th anniversary as a program. So something worth mentioning, definitely.
Yeah, and these CUUCs, they're held over 3 days, and the first day was qualifiers. So a few teams got to fight for spots that were left in the Division 1 top 8 teams division. So there were 9 women's team and 15 open teams yesterday on Friday that played to fight for spots. And then today and tomorrow, there are 60 team total. So Saturday is just pool play. And so for both of these teams, this is their first day of the tournament, both Manitoba and McGill. They did not have to fight for a spot. They already had their spot in the top 8. So today's their first day of tournament. And tomorrow we will see the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals.
So Chantal, let's say you're part of the McGill coaching staff. You're trailing 2-8 at halftime. What are you saying to your players? What should they focus on?
I think there's been 2 big things. First of all, on defense, their zone seems to be working. I would try to do some of that, challenge the handlers on the Manitoba side. They definitely have a core of good handlers, and I would try to challenge and see how deep that core is. And then on the offense, I think it's all about just making throws that and paying attention and not making any mistakes. So just high intensity.
We're still looking for some weaknesses into the Manitoba squad, which nice, deep, long hammer reaching out to number 18, Murray, on the goal line, resetting to McCallum, wearing number 14. It's McFadden, the quarterback, breaking his mark, going around, and quickly, a couple of seconds later, number 18 provides Manitoba offense a hold for the Manitoba's 9th point, still in the driver's seat with a 7-point lead.
And I think that was the strategy to do. They applied that zone that is challenging for Manitoba, but I think that Nick McFadden is just that kind of player that he can put that disc long, he can put it over the cup, over the mids, and surgically place it in the hands of his very talented receiver. So that's going to happen. Let's see what McGill comes out with now.
So if we just take a small step back, was that like a 50-yard long hammer?
I think it was.
I think it was. Okay, we'll have to watch it back on tape. But you just witnessed a 50-yard long hammer throw right in the pocket of the receiver.
Yes.
So,
and we should say that the end-to-end field is about 100 meters. So you're right that it's about a 50 meter hammer, and it was surgically placed in the hands of someone who could catch it. So.
And it was not like a high stall, desperate throw, need to get rid of the disc. It was intentional. Okay, well, my guy is open. I'm just going to throw a 50-yard long hammer right in his hands and just run.
And it's not like there's no wind. There is a good bit of wind that's heading inside the camera, but that did not seem to impact the trajectory of that hammer.
I will get over this shot. I just need a little more time to digest what I just witnessed. So don't worry, I'll get over it. In the meantime, McGill, O-line in movement. They are midfield. They seem to have some great rhythm. Resets to Kolinski. Kolinski now feeding Wu. Being forced to flick. Seems like the wind has died down. It's pretty calm here in Brampton, Ontario. Nice little lefty backhand to reach out to Kolinski. Kolinski, another nice little thrifty dish to 37 Colbury. And McGill finding number 42, Daddy Peterson providing the McGill squad their third point of the game, still trailing by 6. Manitoba in the driver's seat, leading 9-3.
I was going to say, I love that intensity. You could see Kalinski. You could just tell the guys were very focused and very concentrated on that. You could tell they were eating the disc. As soon as it came close to them, there was no one getting close to that disc. You could sense the intensity and the concentration, and it paid off. I love that. You could really see. I noticed it especially on Kalinski when he was handling there and giving options for the dump and being very intent with the way that he was catching and providing that safe option. And being very aggressive with getting the disc, getting it, attacking the disc. Loved it.
Manitoba O-line haven't had much opportunity to play so far, but they were very, very efficient in delivering what they had to deliver. And in case you wonder, Chantal, I'm almost recovering from the hammer. I'm almost there. Just give me a few more minutes, and I should be okay.
One interesting thing about the Manitoba offense is that because they don't have coaches, they only have captains. They don't have any external coaches or anything like that on the Manitoba team. They play very intuitively, very organically. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to put together as a play now that they are on offense.
So not only is 2/3 of their rosters are rookies or news, but they don't have coach, and still they are very, very efficient on the field. So zone defense by McGill. Manitoba just hammers it over.
Just heard fire,
Junk.
so they're going to person match.
Junkman stuck on the sideline, resetting it to McFadden. McFadden pass and running. Murray with the disc. McFadden circles around, making himself a target. Backends it to number 5. Junkman, and it's confirmed by the observers. Manitoba getting in the double-digit scoreboard zone, scoring their 10th point of the game in the driver's seat with a 7-point lead.
Manitoba received the pull, and they made some throws. McGill put on a good zone, but Manitoba was able to make those throws through the cup and just made some medium distance throws. Surgical again. That last throw by McFadden was just surgical. He saw that there was a defense there, but knew that the receiver would get there before, put a little bit of outside in on that throw, and the disc ended up exactly at the right place, exactly at the right time.
McFadden is definitely not the tallest person on the roster, but boy, is he quick.
He's super fast.
He is a nightmare to cover. He just gets open. His first steps are just dynamite.
That's right. But
And
that
his
with
throws.
the quality of the throws, and it's a bit of a menace, isn't it?
Well, he's a nightmare for a defensive line, and McGill is still hunting down for a solution to at least damage control what McFadden is delivering on the field. Speaking of which, McGill on the receiving end. Colbury on the sideline. 1-to-1 defense by Manitoba, resetting it with a nice break pass around the mark. McGill giving some nice pass and run, nice inside cut. Oh, what a nice pass. Great grab by number 48, Crower. That pass was initiated by number 39, Kolinski. What a great vision of the field and his teammate. He provides McGill their 4th point, still trailing by 6. Manitoba 10, McGill 4.
That's it. McGill has shifted into gear. You could sense again that intensity from Kalinski on that concentration, that intent. And Kroger, who was the receiver, is actually someone that comes from Germany. He was on the Germany's team, the under-24 team, and he played with Munich team as well. So now he's at McGill, and that was a fantastic catch in the end zone by Kroger.
An impressive international squad coming from Montreal McGill. I had the opportunity of living not far from the McGill campus, and what an amazing campus it is. With
It's
the
true.
McGill ghetto, just that area, just aside of Montreal downtown. Beautiful place, just next to Mont Royal.
In Canada, there are so many beautiful campuses. Really, if we think about it, I mean, UBC is just gorgeous. You know, I went to the University of Guelph, which has this wonderful Johnston Green in the middle of it. There's just so many beautiful campuses.
And you have also studied in University of Calgary, if I'm not mistaken.
I did.
Manitoba O-line, led by McFadden. See how quickly he releases that disc and how quickly is just explode for a first step to offer himself as an easy reset for his teammates. And McGill still fighting with the zone defense, but they're playing a man-to-man on McFadden, trying to damage control. Number 67 wearing a dark jerseys. Manitoba's taking advantage of those little spot open in McGill's zone defense. Pedersen just on the sideline, tiptoeing it, but he still had almost a yard to go backward. Manitoba with Murray passing and running. He still have the disc. Murray flicking it with a nice inside cut from Howie's. Murray, him again. McFadden is being tightly guarded, so the other Manitoba players are taking over. McFadden just putting him side out of the traffic, but here he is back, getting involved into the red zone. Manitoba a couple of yards shy of their next point. McFadden getting himself, the time is running out. Nice lefty back end, but I think he threw it after the 10-second, or was there a contact? I'm not too sure what the call is, but there is a call for sure.
He tapped his head, so I think that means 10 seconds were up because they only have 10 seconds to throw, of course.
I missed the signal, but that's what the observers are confirming. Yeah,
Uncontested. So
uncontested
It goes to
stall
McGill.
down. So McGill, very interesting adaptation from McGill, just playing a tight man-to-man on McFadden, tried to slow him down, but still he was free just for a couple of seconds, and still see he already has the disc. Murray to pull it quickly to number 9, one of the three Pedersen, Isaac Pedersen. There was some bumping, incidental bumping. Murray was the victim. No arms done, no hard feeling. We'll just go back one pass with McFadden. He's being covered by Wu, which has a very, very difficult challenge of trying to contain McFadden.
McFadden has a really good impulse when he pushes off. As much when he's doing a fake, you know, his fakes are so convincing as when he pushes off to actually run.
See, McFadden's not even trying to get open. He knows that he leaves all the room to his teammates, which they have been doing a very good job so far.
Absolutely.
But it's fun to see how McGill tried to adapt and contain, which is Manitoba's most dominant player. And see, number 25 trying to go around, but it lands out of bounds. So McGill approach and shutting down McFadden's, creating turnover, which is what McGill is looking for. Wu resetting it to Datani, quickly finding Rivas. And now it's 69 McEwen. McGill moving on with O'Donnell just on the edge of the red zone. O'Donnell, him again, pivoting, wanted to attack the break side. Oh, there was some bumping green. And McFadden was a little well anticipated that pass from our perspective, I believe Green had a better position than McFadden. But still,
That's our perspective. So now they're discussing whether or not they're going to maintain the call that there was a foul or throw it back.
and I guess the guideline is you cannot, if you cannot contact the opposite player in order to make it. You're supposed to make that clean, unless you touch the disc, and then after you touch your opponent. That's a guideline, but the observers are very well positioned in order to rule out, and it seems that it will be a McGill possession. So uncontested foul. Well, it was contested, but the observers ruled that it should not be contested. It was indeed a foul. Nice little backhand pass from Green, finding Datani, and the McGill squad just runs on the field to celebrate their 5th point of the game, which is their first break point, Chantal.
Fantastic. So, I mean, we've been
McGill.
seeing some of these players just come back on and on, point after point, and some of them have been sort of silent contributors. But for example, number 10, O'Donnell, he's been doing defense incredibly well the previous point, and now was on this point and doing a lot for the offense. And, sometimes the players, just the fact that they're doing such a fantastic job at offense, they don't necessarily get mentioned, but they are so important in the quality of the play. And then in order to get that disc back, and then in order to get that disc scored into the end zone, it's just such a team sport, teamwork in order to do those. So good, McGill back in the game.
And they have found a hole in Manitoba. We mentioned earlier in this webcast, well, do they have a weakness? Because their execution is so tight. Well, when you can contain, you will not be able to stop McFadden. But if you can contain him, then you have the opportunity of slowing or at least damage control Manitoba's O-line with a great pull from McGill. They are running for their lives on defense in order to set a quick zone defense. And yes, they will play a man-to-man on McFadden. It's O'Donnell who will have the very difficult duties of shutting McFadden down, and McFadden just stays away, leaving all the room for his teammate to do the work. 6-on-6 against McGill zone defense. Manitoba in their own end zone, losing some yardage, looking for holes in McGill zone defense. Not much room to breathe. They are going backward. That's what McGill wants, to try to suffocate Manitoba's O-line. They're still losing some yardage, moving the disc around, not much yardage gain. Here's a small hole, getting a little more space to breathe. There's a floaty disc, and it's being, hard to say. Number 18 from Manitoba, Murray, claims that he caught it first. Number 69 from McGill, McEwen, says the exact same thing. And from our perspective, honestly, I have no idea. It was very, very, very tight.
But that play was brilliant by McGill, that defensive play. Brilliant in terms of them applying that cup and applying a person-to-person defense on McFadden. That was the thing to do.
So it was caught at the same time. So the rule says that when it's caught at the same time, it's an offense disc. So Manitoba hangs on, earning some yardage. McFadden's thing still being silenced in the back of the stack. He does not move, just giving direction and trying to help his teammate. Now he's getting engaged, offering himself a quick reset. Disc is long, but it's not caught. It was very deep in the end zone. I think Murray wanted to keep it inside and was not able to keep a hold on it. So break opportunity for McGill, which seems to have some kind of momentum over the last 2 points.
I think their strategy of applying a zone and containing McFadden is paying off. And now they're going to have a chance to execute on O. Every mistake is going to count here, so they have to be extra careful with the disc and their decisions.
McGill at their own goal line, feeding McEwen. Now it's Wu. So not only does he have the very tough duties of shutting down McFadden, but he also act as McGill's quarterback right now. So great disc movement. McGill being patient. They know the value of a turnover against this Manitoba squad. Long pass to number 10. McGill with O'Donnell. No call confirmed by the observers. McGill getting their mojo back, scoring a second consecutive break point. They are now trailing by 4, but still Manitoba leading 10-6.
Yes, it seems that the strategy that McGill has been applying is paying off. And again, we just have to mention number 10 on the McGill team, which is O'Donnell, Kai O'Donnell. He was not only the person who was in charge of manning McFadden, but he was the one who went long and caught that long throw for the McGill point. Not
so timeout
surprisingly.
call by
Mhm.
Manitoba. You mentioned that they got broken only once in this tournament so far, but they got broken twice over the last 3 points.
Good
So-
timeout call then for Manitoba to regroup and see what it is they can do in some of those situations. Maybe they're discussing how to work through the McGill zone. Maybe they're discussing how to break free from that man person who's on McFadden and what to do about that.
If we do a little time check, we have started this game at 1:15. It is now almost 2:10. So we're 55 minutes into this 80-minute long game. So still over 25 minutes remaining in this second half, unless one of these two teams reaches the 15-point mark. So a lot of things can happen over 25 minutes.
We have
Especially in a
seen-
national championship.
We have absolutely seen this happen in the past, Etienne. And so it is still anybody's game. And we know that, as we were saying before, McGill has the coaching staff to observe what's going on and to create, different dynamics on the field and to adapt to what's happening with Manitoba. So they've been watching. They're looking at how Manitoba is in the lead right now, but I'm sure they're talking to their team and putting in new strategies and new ways of attacking that.
And that's where it can get a little challenging for a team like Manitoba, which have been very successful so far throughout this tournament. But when these kind of things, the other team is adapting to what you have been very, very successful with. So you're being challenged, being out of your comfort zone. And then that's where the coaching staff can be very, very valuable, which you mentioned, Chantal, that Manitoba do not have any coach this weekend. They have captains, but
That's
don't
right.
have any coach.
No.
And that's something that Ultimate Canada wants to change in the future. They want all the teams to come to national championship with a dedicated coach. So McFadden back into business. Let's see how Manitoba respond to this 2 break point they just suffered from. They're still
Looks like
leading by 4.
they put 4 handlers, it seems, which is an interesting.
McFadden moving away. McGill hangs on to their zone defense. We have McCallum acting as a handler. We also have number 5, Jonkman. Also number 9, Pedersen. One of the 3 Pedersen on Manitoba's rosters. You have Sam, Riley, and Isaac. Not much yardage earned. You see McFadden deep, as Chantal
Yes.
just pointed me out.
And
Deep.
McFadden is really being trailed by Podorowski.
Podorowski
He
is
is
just
not leaving his
closer
side.
than his shadow. Really, always being at arm's length,
And less than
just
arm's length.
smelling his opponent. McFadden providing some advice to his teammates, which are struggling to move upward. McGill zone defense really suffocating Manitoba's O-line right now. They are outside of their conference. They're still finding a small hole, earning some yardage. Okay, maybe here's some momentum here, but still being very patient. McGill hanging on to their wall defense, their zone defense, forcing Manitoba to do an important amount of passes. And statistically speaking, every 10 passes, there will be a turnover here. What's happening for McGill, creating another turnover, forcing Manitoba to defend themselves. McGill hunting down for their third consecutive break point. Number 20 will take charge of the disc. Woo passing it to O'Donnell. Donald pivoting, dishing it to Woo. 1 yard, a quick dish, and point is confirmed by the observers. It's all about McGill over the last 10 minutes. They are still trailing by 3, but momentum is towards the white jerseys.
Really good field awareness there by the McGill team, who were able to create that turnover during the zone that they were applying. So I believe it was Datani who was aware of the passes that happened and was able to intercept one and really bid for that. Major bid, major turnover closer to the McGill end zone. And then after that, just some really tight throws to finally score in the end zone. So as you said, Etienne, it's the momentum has changed, and McGill is showing that they can adapt and have adapted to Manitoba. But Manitoba is going to be on the offense here, and Manitoba has many strategies up their sleeves. They know many plays, and 2/3 of their team may be new, but they come from other competitive teams from that very deep Winnipeg program. So I am certain that they will be able to adapt and play organically and match. But their lead is shrinking.
Individually, they have a lot of experience as a team. They are a new team, and they are into unknown territories as of now.
That's right.
As we mentioned, they got broken only once before this game, and now they have been suffering 3 consecutive break. So 3 times more than throughout all this tournament so far. And McGill is just copy pasting what they have been their successful recipe so far. There was a
There's a strip
foul.
called.
Number 42 from McGill challenging Pedersen. First name is Titan, but his nickname is Daddy, as we mentioned. So still very gentleman conversation to discuss what happened. Observers were standing by, and it seems like it will be a foul call. So the stall will go back at 0. Black jerseys finding a hole in McGill's zone defense, but still McGill being able to recover. Manitoba moving the disc around. Still McFadden lying deep, being man-to-man defense by his new best buddy, I would assume, who's just shadowing him, literally. Manitoba, McCallum, nice little pass and run. One of the 3 Patterson with the disc. Sam. It was some incidental contact, no arms done. Nice handshaking, nice spirit, even though there's a lot of intensity on the field right now.
A lot of intensity with this cup being applied in Manitoba, trying to find their way to weave themselves out of this very annoying cup.
Manitoba moving the disc sideways, struggling to earn some yardage. Nice flick, but blocked by O'Donnell. McGill threatening with what can potentially be their 5th consecutive point, of which 4 would be break point. Manitoba having to defend. McGill, Pedersen finding Petit. Quick disc movement. Pedersen once again fakes the flick. time is running out. Going around his mark. And number 23 waiting for the confirmation. Yes, it's confirmed. Jeffrey provides the white jerseys. McGill from Montreal. They're 8 point only now, trailing by 2. But most importantly, McGill has scored the last 5 points of the second half.
The winds have changed, Etienne.
The wind of change.
The wind of change. Key on that point, we have to mention the great defense by O'Donnell, who created that turnover, which was fantastic. And then the pivot handling by Kolinski, who was in the middle and really took his time to select the receiver and select the type of throw he was going to make into that end zone. You could see that the wheels were turning, the intensity was there. He selected that beautiful break side throw. Went around with a fantastic pivot, went around and a big lunge around his defender to make that throw into the end zone. And that was the right throw, the right catch. And McGill are on fire.
And now we're getting into the psychological aspect of the game. You look at the Manitoba squad, their body language is not as confident as it was in the first half. Their O-line got scored on for 4 points now. First half, Manitoba won 8-2, but in the second half, now it's 6-2 favoring McGill in the second half. Explaining where we're up right now, and you see McGill's zone defense just running for their life to set that zone. Now McFadden getting involved into the action. Manitoba trying to changing things, but McFadden is running long, staying away from the traffic, from the zone defense that McGill was able to suffocate Manitoba's O-line over the last few points. Pedersen with the disc now. Manitoba going long. McFadden is there with his shadow defending him. And McFadden puts an end to the McGill points. They have scored 5 points, but now finally Manitoba responding with a point. Oh, what a relief for the black jersey. Still in the driver's seat, leading 11-8 in this second half.
A great positional offense by McFadden in the end zone there. I don't think he was the taller of the two players, but he definitely read that disc right and timed the jump and was able to make that catch exactly at the right time, at the right vertical height. And he's proven that he's not only a handling threat, he's a deep receiving threat as well.
He can do it all, even though his defensive is the person who was guarding him was literally in his pocket, in his shoes, in his hair, in his cap. He was all over him.
Yes.
Even though the disc was in the air, it was just like within like an inch of him, just guarding him. Wow. McFadden will have nightmares next night.
Shadow nightmares.
Absolutely. McGill on the receiving end. We haven't seen that for a little while. Manitoba's pulling the disc out of bound. McGill will put it back into play at the brick mark, which is the X you're seeing on the field, which is 20 yards off the end zone. 1-to-1 defense. It's a split stack being played by McGill, resetting it to Pedersen, one of the key players of McGill's comeback. Unfortunately, two cannot handle that pass. Manitoba with a break opportunity. We haven't seen that in a little while. Also, Manitoba, great layout grab by number 31, Dummer. Hammers it, and it's partially blocked by Pedersen, but it was kind of a I'd say creative throw. Creative decision.
Yes.
Artistic decision.
Yes. Everyone is on edge. You can tell everyone's on the sideline and everyone's on their tiptoes leaning into the field. The tension is at its highest here. The highest of the game.
The second half have been all about McGill comeback. McKibben with the disc looking for a reset. Dishes it to number 37, Colbury, looking for a reset. Find 77, Verland. But there was a call. So I believe the disc will still remains into Verland's hand. It seems like there was some contact, some foul called against Manitoba's defense. I think it's Daya wearing number 31. That's where the observers is at least.
Mm. There's still about 15 minutes left to the game, Etienne, if I'm not mistaken. So it really is anybody's game at this point with an 11-8 score.
We have played 67 minutes, so less than 15 minutes remaining. McGill threatening. Pedersen a few yards away from a point. Flicks it to number 48 and confirmed by the observers. Crower providing McGill their 9 point, making this game back to a 2 point game with approximately 12 minutes. So, as you very well mentioned, Chantal, it is everybody's game at this point.
It's anybody's game. And now we've seen that McGill has really shifted it into gear and they are hungry for it. They are cutting. I mean, I am just impressed with the level of athleticism and the speed and the intensity that they can put in those cuts in order to get open. It's giving a really great game. And it's hard to say what's going to happen next.
McGill will be pulling. We can expect McGill to set their zone defense, which has driven amazing result in this second half. How will Manitoba O-line respond? We are late in the second half. Manitoba still 2 points ahead of McGill, but the pressure, even though they are still leading, is on the black jerseys.
McFadden is back on the line now. He had taken the last point off. And let's see if McGill decides to do a man-to-man,
Great
person-to-person defense.
McFadden, McGill, zone defense looking for a long threat. Will they go long? Holding it back, resetting along the sideline. Pedersen with the disc, flicking it in the middle, finding some holes, going long, and it's complete. Some relief for the Manitoba line. McFadden taking back the control, passes and runs his life out back and in the end zone, but it's out of bounds. It was very well defended. Manitoba's players staying down.
Maybe it's off camera, but we have one of the Manitoba players that is down on the ground outside the field at this time. So just waiting to see what's the situation there. And on that throw from McFadden, I believe the wind might have caught that, or maybe it was just the speed because McGill have been applying such crazy amounts of pressure. And so McFadden, as we know, has been guarded so closely by someone that he has to move quickly or else he won't have the choices that he wants to make. So maybe he did precipitate that throw a little bit. Maybe it was caught by the wind that is blowing towards the camera here. The wind's probably something like 30 kilometers an hour at this time. So that is making a difference in the throws.
While we're discussing if there was a foul call, I think it's McEwen wearing number 69 from McGill who was defending the player from Manitoba who is now up. Seems to suffer, but he's now up on his own. There's still some discussion to see, was he pushed out? From my perspective, it seems like the pass was out anyway. But that, it goes so fast. I'm not too sure. What's your view on that?
From my perspective, same as you. I had the impression that the throw was not inside the field, but we do not have best perspective from here. So let's let them discuss and see what. There's an observer there that was very close, so I'm sure they'll come out with the right decision.
Let's take this opportunity to show a big kudos to all the observer squad, which are doing an amazing job. Once again, it's such a difficult task. Things are going very, very fast, and because of the limited amount of resources for a game, you can have up to 4 observers, but now there's only 2, so there's a lot for them to cover and to look after. but they are doing an amazing job. So
And if
thanks
anyone's
to all.
interested in being an observer, Ultimate Canada does have observer training programs. So do inquire if that's something that is of interest to you.
So it was ruled a turnover favoring McGill. But it's a Callahan by Manitoba. A Callahan, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. Patterson just anticipating that pass, stealing the disc away from McGill's reset, and just breaking a hip buster for McGill. They were on a great momentum, but Manitoba scoring their 12th point of the game by a Callahan.
We do not see many Callahans in a tournament. It's always such a privilege to see one. So the anticipated, the defense anticipated that throw and intercepted it right into the end zone, created automatically a point for that team that was on defense, but then became automatically on offense and made that catch right in the end zone, creating a point. I love Callahans, Etienne. They're so exciting. It takes such an awareness also in order to create that turnover and sometimes we see people who make a defense in that situation. They will intercept or they'll create a turnover, but they don't always catch it. They don't always hang on to. They can block.
Right.
Yeah, right. They can block it. They don't always hang on to it to create that point, but in this case, they did.
The
Good
score
job.
was 11-9 favoring Manitoba. McGill had the disc. Imagine if that scored. That was a 1-point game, but
Yes.
Patterson just says, it's going to be a 3-point game. Now Manitoba back, 3-point lead. McGill, I should say. I'm too excited with the output of this game. What a show at this team have provided us. McGill going long.
Great bid by Croger there. Full layout attempt at catching that long throw.
So now Manitoba, not only are they leading by 3, but they have possession. So let's see how McGill's O-line can set a zone defense that will create turnover. McGill needs some point quickly. We have started this game at 1:15. It is almost 2:30. So we're into almost at the 75th minute of this game, which is intended to last 80 minutes. So about 5-6 minutes remaining, trailing by 3 McGill. The clock is against the Montreal squad.
It is, but it's a tight game, and McGill's doing a great job applying that cup right now, and Manitoba is struggling to get out and weave that disc out of there, which they have to do.
They are deep into their own end zone, but time is on their end. So they're going long just to get some breathing room, and they are completing it. Oh, but there was some bumping there, foul call. And there is one black jersey receiver, actually 2 black receivers all by themselves.
Ready to catch.
Oddly by themselves, I should say.
Yes. Well, not so oddly, given that McGill was applying a very good zone.
Just have to put it and confirm the catch for Manitoba's 13-point, back in control of what has been a rocky second half. Manitoba 13, McGill 9.
When Manitoba finally was able to get a throw out, it was not necessarily a very safe throw out from back there, the handlers that had to get out from the zone, but they put it up in the middle and they trusted their receivers. And the Manitoba team is very skilled at reading and receiving those throws. They do not drop many of the mid to long throws. They're quite impressive in that sense. So they must have a great experience and great training program there. And as soon as they caught it middle of the field, and then the cup didn't apply anymore, and then they were through. They made those that last long pass, and the rest was history. So it is.
And of all the excitement that the 2 games today have provided us, well, you know what? It's not over. We have one last assignment today. We will witness in the women's division at 4:35 some more national championship action here in Brampton, Ontario. Chantal and Devon will have the great pleasure of calling our next assignment at 4:35. So make sure you are in a happy hour mode if you're in the Eastern Coast. If you're on the West Coast, well, maybe having a cup of tea after lunch to enjoy some amazing ultimate here in Brampton, Ontario 2023 CUUC series.
Yes, we'll be covering the women's Toronto and Manitoba teams at 4:35 today.
Manitoba with the disc. McGill trying to make things happen. They know the clock is ticking. They're trying to go with the long game, but they have not been successful, and Manitoba had took advantage of it.
So McGill calling an injury sub, and Manitoba also taking this opportunity to sub in another player. So fresh legs for the end of this game.
McFadden still being shadowed by Wu, wearing number 20 from McGill. Wu is only doing one thing, staying close to McFadden. Try to shutting down McFadden, staying long. Manitoba going for the long game, but no target. They just wanted to throw it away. I guess they know clock is ticking and pressure is now on McGill.
McGill switched it up there, and they were applying a person-to-person match defense. So it's interesting that they're keeping Manitoba on their toes.
Green hunting down this long pass, but there was three dark jerseys defender. Green could not win this battle. Manitoba, McFadden with the disc. Great flick, great bid by Wu, but there's a foul call. Hard to tell from our point of view if there was any contact, and it's hard to tell from the two players. Things are going so fast, but from an athletic standpoint, the layout by Wu was just
amazing.
Wonderful.
Absolutely. Outstanding layout, outstanding effort. Let's see here what happens in terms of the call, but what a great athletic effort by Wu there.
So still, the observers, there was a foul call confirming there was contact for the defense. So unfortunately for Wu, great effort, but a little contact, which denies the D. Still, it's a Manitoba disc. McFadden.
Manitoba in a bit of a stackish type of offense. Maybe more of a horizontal now at this time.
Hammers! Beautifully executed by McFadden. It seems so easy. Number 17 was the target, Tramley. Now McFadden once again. Tramley at the brick mark, McFadden. Defended by Green. Little chaos in Manitoba's end zone play. But McFadden, and I believe we just hear the horn, which I believe was just started before the point was scored. So I believe this will be the ending point of this game.
This is the last point that will be played during this game. So this is the end score. This is the final score.
Manitoba, unless we are wrong, we see the two observers getting together. So yeah, the players will shake hands. So that put an end to what had been an extremely exciting game. Chantal, I don't know what are your thoughts. I don't think I'm going to be able to sleep tonight. I will be too excited thinking back of this game.
Well, I think it goes to show that both teams, they cannot take their foot off the gas, and both teams have what it takes to win tomorrow. And tomorrow, the top 8 teams in the Division 1 will have a chance to play in the quarterfinals, in the semifinals, and then finals. So it is still anybody's tournament. So today was a bit of a matchup pool play, to re-rank the top 8 teams, but it is still anybody's championship. So tomorrow.
And to your point, and I suspect the other team that are playing in Division 1 will take a look at this web stream and take some note on what did McGill did good in order to slow down Manitoba's very, very efficient O-line. So What an amazing display of athleticism and great spirit also by those two teams, even though it was extremely intense on the field. Amazing also effort by the observers. So thank you very much, observers. Thank you very much, Chantal, for sharing the mic. It was, as always, a pleasure.
Thank you,
Thanks to
Etienne.
all of you for sharing this game. Our next appointment is at 4:35 in the women's division. Where what other two teams already, Chantal? I've already forgotten.
Yeah,
I'm very
Toronto,
overwhelmed by the
Toronto,
excitement.
and Manitoba.
Toronto against Manitoba in the women's division at 4:35 Eastern time. Thanks for being with us. Looking forward for more Ultimate here in Brampton, Ontario. My name is Etienne, and I was with Chantal. Take care. Go outside. Throw some disc. Cheers.
Cheers.